Hello everyone, welcome to this video. Myself, Thenmozhi, Assistant Professor of English, the Standard Fireworks Rajaratnam College for Women, Sivagasi. So in this video, I am going to discuss about the play Oscar Wilde's Lady Windermere's Fan. Before going to see about the play, let me introduce about the author. So first we will see about the author introduction. Oscar Wilde was an Anglo-Irish playwright, novelist, poet and critic. He is regarded as one of the greatest playwrights of the Victorian era. In his lifetime, he wrote 9 plays, 1 novel and numerous poems, short stories and essays. Oscar Wilde was a proponent of the aesthetic movement which emphasized aesthetic values more than moral or social themes. This doctrine is most clearly summarized in the prize Art for Art's Sake. Now we will see about his writing skills. Oscar Wilde's writing focused on description in order to achieve the effect of beauty. He used similes, metaphors and other techniques in the wide range of literature. Oscar Wilde's playwright career made his writing full of irony, satire and sarcasm. He was skilled in his approach to portray imagery. Now we will see about the play. Lady Windermere's Fan is a 4-act play written by Oscar Wilde that was first performed in 1892 and then published a year later. The play is a comedy of manners, which means that it has satirical aspects that reflect the manners of society. Let us see about the act-wise summary. Act 1. Lady Windermere has tea with Lord Darlington, a charming and clever young man who challenges her perspective on the world. It is Lady Windermere's 21st birthday and she shows Lord Darlington the hand fan her husband has given her, which has her name on it. Lord and Lady Windermere are having a ball that evening to celebrate her birthday. The Duchess of Berwick arrives and tells Lady Windermere of a mysterious woman whom many of the men about London have been seen with, including Lady Windermere's husband, Lord Windermere. The Duchess of Berwick claims that Lord Windermere must be having an affair with the woman because he has been paying her frequent visit and giving her large sums of money. Lady Windermere is incredulous, but the Duchess of Berwick gossips make her suspicious. After the Duchess of Berwick leaves, Lady Windermere goes through her husband's bank book and discovers that it is true. Lord Windermere has been giving money to Mrs. Erlyn. Lady Windermere confronts Lord Windermere, who defends the accusation. He says that Mrs. Erlyn is a good woman wronged by society and that she must be invited to the ball that evening. Lady Windermere is convinced of her husband's guilt and threatens to strike the woman with her fan if she comes to her house. Next, Act 2. At the ball that evening, the guests mingle curious about the mysterious Mrs. Erlyn. She is a charming and clever and has especially ensnared Lord Augustus. Lady Windermere goes out onto the terrace with Lord Darlington and he confesses that he is in love with her. He begs her to leave her husband and go away with him because he plans to leave England the next day. Lord Darlington presses Lady Windermere to decide immediately. Without time to think, Lady Windermere refuses him and he exits the house. Elsewhere, Lord Augustus proposes marriage to Mrs. Erlyn. Lady Windermere is increasingly distressed over socializing with her husband's paramour in front of her friends in her very own house. She decides that she should have accepted Lord Darlington's offer and she writes Lord Windermere a letter detailing her intentions to leave him for Lord Darlington. She leaves the letter out for Lord Windermere and departs for Lord Darlington's apartment. Mrs. Erlyn finds the letter and this prompts her to recall her own similar folly 20 years earlier. She consequently steals the letter and resolves to intervene to save Lady Windermere from the same mistake. Next, Act 3. Mrs. Yerlin catches up with Lady Windermere at Lord Darlington's home. She pleads with her to reconsider the says that her husband is not having an affair and has acted out of love for his wife. Lady Windermere does not believe this claim, but Mrs. Yerlin reminds her of her newborn child. She entreats her not to abandon her son and says that she must endure hardship for him. Lady Windermere then finally agrees to let Mrs. Yerlin take her home. Before the two women can leave, Lord Darlington arrives home. Not only is Lord Augustus with him, but also Lord Windermere and the two other gentlemen from the party. Mrs. Yerlin instructs Lady Windermere to conceal herself behind the curtains while she hides behind a door. Cecil Graham spots a lady's fan on the Lord Darlington's sofa. He calls over Lord Augustus and Lord Windermere to show it to them, and Lord Windermere immediately recognizes it as his wife's fan. He accuses Lord Darlington of concealing Lady Windermere in his rooms and begins to search for her. As he heads toward the curtains, Mrs. Yerlin emerges from her hiding place. She explains that she took Lady Windermere's fan by mistake, while Lady Windermere escapes out of the window unseen. Next, Act 4. Lady Windermere laments her behavior the following morning and agonizes over whether to confess to her husband. Lord Windermere appears and begins to explain to Lady Windermere that he was wrong about Mrs. Yerlin, that she is a bad woman they must not associate with. Lady Windermere is about to tell her husband the truth about the prior evening when Mrs. Yerlin arrives to return Lady Windermere's fan. Now convinced that Mrs. Yerlin is as bad as everyone has said, Lord Windermere scolds her while they were alone. During this rebuke, it is revealed that Mrs. Yerlin is Lady Windermere's mother. Lady Windermere grew up believing that her mother was dead when in fact she had an affair and abandoned her family. Mrs. Yerlin contacted Lord Windermere when she returned to London, and he provided financial assistance to help her re-establish herself in polite society. Mrs. Yerlin asked Lady Windermere if she may keep the fan since she had Lady Windermere share the same first name, Margaret. Lady Windermere readily agrees and explains she was named after her mother, whom she idolizes. Lord Windermere goes out to see Yerlin profusely for sacrificing herself and saving her from ruin. Lord Augustus arrives and shares a cool greeting with Mrs. Yerlin, but still walks her to her carriage. Upon his return, he says that she has explained she was only at Lord Darlington's last night to find him and accept his proposal. He plans to marry Mrs. Yerlin and move abroad with her. Next, let us see about the theme of the play. Oscar Wilde's Lady Windermere's Fan is a comic play that describes the events that threaten of the Windermere's marriages and the resolution of the same. The play has multiple themes. However, there is one major theme which connects the plot to its central message. Morality is ambiguous. Marriage is the main theme of the play. The whole 4 acts revolve around people's marriages and their ideals of marriage. There are 4 different stages of marriage process explored: the courting, early love in marriage, marriage in later years, and an escape from a restrictive marriage. In Lady Windermere's Fan, although men hold the power, they rules and defined to a great extent by means of their relationship to women. Lord Windermere is a husband, father figure to Lady Windermere. Lord Darlington is her devoted lover, while Lord Augustus is Mrs. Yerlin's obedient, submissive lover. Wilde not only satirizes the Victorian society in general and fallen women in particular, but he also criticizes the Victorian concept of woman. He highlights the awful discrimination against women based on their gender. Thank you all for your patience listening. We will see in the next video.